It's gonna be like 50 degrees today by the afternoon. I'm excited. New rules of the revolution. So I'm kind of piggybacking off of my thoughts yesterday about how groups look as, as a collective as such, right? Because I think we're learning something about reality versus narrative functions, right? And everybody's learning that that your vision of the world that should not be and the world that should be have many levels of divorce with other people. Because when you've advanced your sense of civic structure and the manner in which a culture needs to be upholding and worthy of that civic structure, that brings us back to an idea of our absolute freedom. And the focus is on that pinnacle in every instance, right? This is getting into the things I've talked about like taking steps, about how certain things are not reasonable within our lifetime, and that we have to think about, like, okay, you have a high ideal that you are throwing out there, and you've got your awesome thing, and that for you see it like, well, if everybody just does this now, just like me, in 10 years you're going to be something else, and you're going to, and it's going to be perfect for you, right? And people will still hear that from their position and everything going on in the back of their mind. And when they tell you their superficial excuse of why they're not gonna do that, it's mostly because they're trying to freaking continue to relate and associate to you, while also telling you that I have too many things that I don't feel comfortable opening up about. I need to give you this simple thing about why I can't see myself there, right? And then we get viscerally disappointed in people who can't start their path to freedom, right? And this is where I get to my point of how I think James True is right about looking at, there's a certain babiness to our collective humanity in this we could say we're in an early Dwapara Yuga state. I would have said we're in a late Kali Yuga state 5 years ago. Maybe these are lesser cycles and all of us are just being overly dramatic because we hate the times we're living in and we lack the perspective in our short lifespans, and we're so desperate for novelty that this must be the Kali Yuga, or we must have shifted ages into a Dwapara Yuga, when we're really just experiencing minor forms of novelty, or at the very least slightly better progressions in the state of human affairs, right? If I tried to truly live the way I am living now in the 90s, I would have considered the world a worse and more slavish place that wouldn't have let me be that. But I had to seize the reins for myself, realize that's all I really had to do was seize the reins for myself. You know, the essence of certain aspects of personal self-assertion, letting go of futile endeavors, or to at least park my higher endeavors and put them into a better order, right? It's kind of like, like I can't expect to fucking sell out Madison Square Garden by the end of the year. That's not realistic. Am I going to yell at all the metalheads in the world that didn't listen to my shitty scratch track because it's missing a bass line and a cohesive fucking song structure, or an original beat? Obviously not. Obviously not. It's serving for something else. It's serving for something else. And we don't like it because it doesn't fall into the end game, and we don't see it as a necessary step that we're going to have to make a system that if we want to be successful, then we have to make a system that works for people where they're at. For those in the dependency caste, we call them thralls. In harsh language, we call them slaves. And I reserve slave for wherever I see direct, coerced exploitation of labor. Otherwise, slave is we're just using that because all of those systems are also there across the board with anybody who's a dependent. A slave is just someone who is a dependent being guided by those outside of natural law. Those that believe they need to use force of will because they are failing as teachers. Which, of course, is why I share the compassionations of James True over Mark Passio, as I discussed, because of how the context that is not fully understand of what was going on within one great work that was fucking hurting Mark for people like really fucking letting him fucking down when they very vehemently were interested, fully showing him that they wanted things to go a certain way, and then they turned that on him, right? For whatever reason, like they weren't, like maybe they were lying that they watched every fucking episode and understood every little fucking thing or whatever, right? And so at the end of the day, I'm just, as an outsider of that situation in that time, as, so many things happened so quickly between 2014, when I interviewed him on Revolution Radio, an interview that is lost because the servers fucking got fucked at Revolution Radio. That's the only place they were. Since then and now, where I've not had any contact with him on a personal level, and only in the recently, like maybe year or two, have I really been opened up into the associated network of the One Great Work and all my great and awesome friends there. And it's just the merit that we all I get it, right? Because I at a certain point put myself and turned hard into an aspect of shadow work, I couldn't stand the circumstances of 2020 and me continuing to live my life the way that I did. I at least let 2020 change me, and I was already fucking conscious in other ways. but also it's a matter of how long in a lifetime does it take to get you out of dependency ability and mindset. You know, my mindset may not be of dependency, but my ability, unfortunately, operates under some dependency. My living situation is a dependence living situation. My working situation, as an employee, it means I'm dependent. I'm dependent on an employer that I follow the orders of for a contracted period of time in order to make money to use to build myself out of dependency. So we need to have systems for the dependent that is probably not going to be things that we are going to personally do ourselves because they wouldn't follow with our values, but they're not supposed to. But to have the tertiary relationship with those who have different ideas but love who we are and what we are doing. And as long as we can stand and say, like, this may be what people that don't listen to us need, but we're going to continue to grow this ability to be a community that needs no government at all, etc., etc. And so, you know, this is why, you know, like, I pain myself to not enjoy too much false or unverifiable victories, right? I can't look at what's going on in the Trump administration and say, man, all this stuff looks good. I see things happening that are very, very good, but I can't verify that this isn't an interrupt towards something that our collective unconscious can't see, or that we're in denial about, you know? Because I was in denial of what humanity would do if told how to fucking do things because we're going to declare a pandemic, right? And I didn't think, I hated it, right? I hated it, you know, to be put under the suffering of all of that unconscious, right? And to be recklessly ignorant and then to defend that value as some sort of free, like, there's a fight that has to be had if I don't have my right to a free association in a certain way, right? And then you have a public responsibility as a business, right? And that responsibility, it's just like, whether you like it or not, the economic laws are still going to be there, right? And if you're a dependent, you're going to have to operate within that understanding if you're a dependent, right? Because you can own a fucking business and be your own fucking man and still be a dependent. Because if your business wants to be like these corporations where it has to be growing a certain way, like, I don't like this kind of thing about certain things where its growth plagues you, right? You know, its growth, which is supposed to be for your benefit. I say nothing is a fucking benefit in its growth if it robs you of your time. If I like to put 8 hours into a day, it's more about that fucking time because I'm thinking about how I live my fucking life more than how much of a fucking whatever I need. I'll sacrifice the good things in life to have the time in life to make good with that time, which will last longer in my core memories and through the practical application of the future throughout the rest of my life from what I gained from the time experience I made. right? So I refuse to be a slave to my YouTube channel because I can't crack 500 subs. That's just life. That's just life, right? And because that's my disposition, it also defines my production effort, which is why you don't see me making fancy fucking cards, thumbnails for everything, or you know, like, I went through a lot of effort just to put up the basic productions you see now. And then I'm still changing them up because, you know, I get a little bit better. I got a little bit time. I'm excited. It's like, oh, let me actually bother to make a thumbnail. You know, it's just like I really enjoyed the thumbnail I made for my interview about the transit of Pluto to Aquarius, and as well as America's Pluto return. All one video that I did with my buddy Rodney, the Blue Pearl Oracle, and a member of the Temple of the White Dragon as well. So in my personal life and my personal conduct, as I would expect for anybody, you live your life in accordance to your morality. And then ask yourself, are you capable of having your morality defended in natural law? Right? Can you say that, like, because I think it also matters, like, if we know what natural law means, right? And like I said, also in that video that this is a deliberate follow-up on, is that natural law can be misunderstood because of our personal takes about it. And I talked about diet, for instance, right? Because Mark is a vegan, works very hard at understanding plant protein because he knows what he's doing. He's not a synthetic vegan. He's not a Whole Foods vegan, right? And of course, I have to think about that because, like, if supply chains collapse tomorrow, I have to find it in me to personally kill an animal to keep this going. I have to find it in me to be like, all right, man, this is worth it. Protein's worth it. And then I go and I buy some fucking chickens. And maybe I don't slaughter them at first. Maybe I just eat copious amounts of eggs. And if I feel good after copious amounts of eggs, maybe I'll go vegetarian. Maybe that'll be an easy leap for me, because as long as I get the protein, like, when I eat meat, I feel it helping me. I don't feel fucking black magic in that at all. I know that likely some of factory meats that I've been eating, especially because, you know, I'll go to Wendy's or something, right? I am sure that there was suffering of animals that comes into a pseudo definition of black magic by that merit and how sacrifice works or whatever, right? But and thank you, Theo, I appreciate the encouragement. So I think that that's going to be very healthy, because I think that we got to make sure that things aren't missing, right? One of the bigger tells with a lot of this stuff, especially for us guys who have certain interests in things that we know are also going to be a guy's thing, right? You know, the One Great Work Network is mostly male voices of older millennials and across the spectrum Gen Xers. Not too much of a boomer in sight. I'm not that worried about it with the aging boomer population, and very few of them having the ability to muster up the gumption to be part of a movement as such. But women, we have a tremendous amount of women that are supporting us. And, but at the same time, there is what women pick up on an unconscious level that has to be acknowledged, right? And the movement may have to, I don't know, right? There needs to be something that works better, that draws it in, right? When you think about people that women listen to that speak of ideology, activism, civics, and aspects of natural, like who are the ones that are talking that have the ability to draw in ladies, right? I mean, I can't talk for myself. I mean, I know I got ladies that are listening here. How you doing, ladies? But, you know, I'm not talking to anybody about movement stuff. To me, it's all very singular thing. It's all very like, you know, like personal development kind of encouragement stuff. But, you know, it's just like, there's no doubt in my mind that aspects of how I want to fucking live my life and be in the world may have been a turn-off, you know, a sign. I kind of, you know, pushed it because I knew what I wanted to be, and I was with a wonderful woman, this Finnish girl. And it was amongst the things that I brought up often, because I wasn't 100% sure if she understood it. And I know. And on my level, I'm just like, it's just like, I you know, like, I can't be 100. I don't know how women fucking feel. Like, you know, a lot of these groups, it's boys club stuff. And a lot of people, a lot of men are also turned off by places that, you know, it's not because, you know, they want to, you know, have some fucking feminist running her mouth in there, but just like the presence and the spirit of women and what's on their mind in the air of the goddamn conversation, at the very least, to show that we're providing the stability, the security, the non-threat, right? You know, are we warriors that put peace and safety severely on edge, right? There's something that can be kind of a turnoff to, like, the guy in his basement flashing his guns, right? As an all the time kind of thing, because believe me, I've been the guy in the basement flashing my guns too. But anyway, I'll catch you guys later.